And hello everybody, so this is my video in astrophysics number 39. Well, as you can see, my native language is French, therefore I will try to speak the best English I can. And something else, I am not a professional translator, but I produce the best translation of my French text than I can with a translator. And something else, I have to follow a text so that I don't forget important details, and in this way I produce the best video I can. So, and for those who find my video without going through my website, let me introduce myself. My name as a self-taught and multidisciplinary scientist is Gilles Lauzon-Urtubise, and I am the owner of the first human multi-intelligence.com site, which is on your left side. So as you know, vacuum energy in space and across the universe, does it exist? The answer for me is no. I don't believe in this and in any kind of energy of vacuum. So, but in the universe at the large scales. So then, because it's possible to produce which other ways, but in the universe at the large scale, I don't believe it at all. So, as far as I am concerned with the vacuum energy on the macroscopic scale of the universe, it does not exist for several logical reasons. So, according to a French-speaking Wikipedia source, then this is a French text that I translate, vacuum energy is an underlying energy that exists everywhere in space across the universe. However, I totally disagree with this statement and position for the following reason. First, because for me it is totally illogical that a vacuum energy can manifest itself from a universe which is so immense that we are unable to measure its dimensions. Second, because logically, the only logical things that a vacuum can produce in absence, it is an absence of energy. Third, because in the laboratory it is possible to generate vacuum energy from inside a container where all the air has been removed. Number four, because the Big Bang never happened, and I'm talking about this in my first video, so one of my first video. Then number five, because the expansion or the acceleration of the expansion of the universe does not exist too, so which I explained too in other video. And number six, for many other reasons which I will disclose after filing my first patent for my first extraordinary spaceship of the first generation, and maybe after my third patent for my third extraordinary spaceship of the third generation. Moreover, and according to my result of self-taught studies, which are largely in astrophysics and a little in chemistry of only 5 years and 8 months, and during which I have managed to invent and or produce between 50 and 100 or more theories in astrophysics and little in something else, and some other in something else. These studies have led me to invent and or produce a sufficient quantity of theories to successfully decode the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale, and to successfully explain the origin of all objects as well as the form how they function, and the circumstances or condition that led to one or the other of different possible deaths, but only after following my patterns then. Something else. On the other hand, my imposing model theory of how the universe works on macroscopic scale, it must have somewhere between 3,000 and 6,000 pages or more, like this one, of document with the same small characters. So something else. As far as I am concerned, there is no way that my extremely high physical logical mind could be brought to rid or fooled by any branches of complex mechanics, of complex mathematics, and among of my 50 and 100 theories or more of my imposing model theory of how the universe works on macroscopic scale, there is none that has any connection to depend on mathematics. And about the same theory, there are none of these that can be characterized as one or more accommodating magical thoughts form. Because my extremely high physical logical mind, it originates from an insatiable curiosity about nature that started from an age that is only 5 or 6 years old or a little before, and until now. So from a very early age, I found myself assimilating a considerable amount of nature experience and relationship between physical cause to physical effect, to understand much as I can at that time how nature's work. So by an early age, I'm starting by observing the nature of soils, rivers, insects, small animals, and all the things in the nature that takes too long to list. Because I had a great chance to be born on a farm in the country. So at the ends of our land, they have a bush, and in the back of my house where I live, they have a large river. So every morning when it's possible, I used to going behind the river to watch if I can see some fish or any other kinds of small animals. So for several decades, I have managed to accumulate a considerable amount of experienced nature and relationship between physical cause to physical effect in my biological hard drive or brain. So, because this is extremely useful afterwards to be able to differentiate the possible things from the impossible things. And among other things, never to be trapped by all kinds of magical thoughts or other forms of magical thinking which have nothing in common with physical reality. And thanks to my extremely high intellectual capacity in deep investigation, in deep reflection, in very deep analysis of all kinds, and my limitless inventiveness of all kinds, and many others forms of very important intelligence which I practice continually. So all of these, they allowed me to be the first and only one in history to be able to decode how the universe works on a macroscopic scale and in an extreme short times of only 5 years and 8 months. Whereas every other astrophysicist or planetologist before me has been unable to do so for the past 200 years and more. Currently, my 50 my theories, about 50 and 100 or more theories of my imposing model theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, give me a level of satisfaction that is somewhere between 96% and 98.5%. But I will never completely satisfied until I achieve 100% satisfaction. And that's the reason I like to take in at least 3 or 4 extremely complex files or more at a time, who are currently, number one, my imposing model theory, which I want to bring to 100% satisfaction. Number two, my paper pattern, which is about 300 and 350 pages for my extraordinary spaceship. So I need to find the funding because I want to finalize the best possible pattern, and until it can be 100% protected. And number three, a personal folders that I have to cure after COVID-19. Number four, it's all cancer of men and women. And number five, a lot other file that I want to resolve, but after I've got after then I can work with collaborators in science, and when I have my search center then. So about vacuum energy. So this is another evidence of a complete misunderstanding of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale on the part of all other astrophysicists before me. And because I succeed to decode the functioning of the universe, I understand easily why it's so difficult to overcome about the immense difficulties and complexity of the universe before all the other astrophysicists before me can only begin to decode level by level how all the objects in the universe work. And after, if they succeed to doing this, but they don't do it by now, they start to be able to start forming different theories until they become satisfactory and agree with each other. And after this other level of pretty big difficulties and pretty huge work, and then to be able to start producing a sufficient quantity of theories that can all be complementary until they manage to explain how the universe works from A to Z, or almost, until proven otherwise, so as to achieve the same level of explanation as all of my theories of my imposing model theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. So for me, of course, I succeed to decode the functioning of the universe, so it is very easy to understand why no one before me had any chance to achieve such an intellectual feat. So otherwise, in the other hand, all of my theories that go into my imposing model theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, there are none of them that can be called a theory of one or more accommodating magical thoughts or any other magical thoughts, because all of my theories are based on one or more relationship of physical cause to physical effect and nothing else. On the other hand, if it happened in the near future that I come to realize that one of my theories is no longer acceptable, I will change it fast as possible. But it is possible that any of my theories could be completely wrong. No, this is impossible. But in the worst possible case, I will just have to make one or few slight modifications to it. In conclusion of this part of text, my intellectual and humanitarian ambition and my responsibility as a multidisciplinary multidisciplinary and self-taught scientists and humanists is to advance the knowledge of the humanity. Plus, to produce or form a website which it should be the best protective site it's ever made by now. So then, in a way, then they used to be they used to form to protect all members of the society. So in one section, they have a site where the people they can meet each other, but by some system tools. So because those system tools they help them to protect. So if a woman meet a man that she never see before, then by the system tools that I produce, which they are addictive in the right way, because it make better person. So when the woman meet a man, because she see his system tools, then so if the guys start to behavior in different ways than he said before, so that's open red light in the head of the woman, and and just in the way to protect her, so and to protect every members of the society in any direction. That so plus a section of this website it's to use to regroup all the new ideas of all over the world. So the best ideas protect environment, the best practice of life, the best behavior to protect the environment much as possible. So with the ideas of all the inventors around the world, which they are named to. So all of these new ideas, they don't only come from me, but from all good persons from all over the world. So, and with their name then on the website, if they agree with this. So then, plus another section to protect the animal much as possible, because by protecting them, we are protecting us too. So, and a multitude of other system tools which is used to promote and produce peace in the public and at every level of the society. And another section which is used to explain from A to Z why democracy is so important, and for the humanity and for the future of the humanity and our child. Then. And something else, the term impossible is a term that I will never respect, and as long as I am sufficiently in good physical, intellectual, and mental condition. Something else, I need help to start forming a small research center in astrophysics, physics, particle physics, chemistry, and biology and medicine in a form of PPP. So for those who do not know the term PPP, it means public, and it means an enterprise which is public and private partnership. Because thereafter I intend to buy back the government investment and ultimately becomes the sole owner of the research center and all of my other company, because for me the money is important, but for me it's only important in the way that I can produce just more good things to protect the society, the humanity, and the futures of our child. So about my research center, a slow start that will allow me to hope to be able to stay in control of the investment until I can become independent enough to buy it out. So the start of my research center must begin with hiring a science writer and a volunteer group of students and one or few science professors who would serve as my review committee to correct, adjust, and finalize all of my scientific articles. until they are as perfect as possible. I'm a writer, but I'm not interested to become the best writer because they have a lots of pretty good writer in science. So the only important things to me it's to be the best inventor, investigator is possible, to produce a lot of ideas is possible. So this is the intellectual capacity. It's so important to me. So that the participation of the student and professor, they would serve as training towards new notion of astrophysicists, which aim to correct false notion of astrophysicists, and many other cases where there is currently no astrophysical explanation for this or that phenomenon of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. In addition, and if possible, I intend to form a scientific journal in my name, because apart from most of the measurements that are made from Earth's powerful telescope, relative to the approximate volume of objects or other rough measurement that I accept, because all of those measurements they made by the best tools as we have and by good scientists, professional scientists in mathematics. So I accept those work, it's no problem. But on the other side, most of the theory produced to try to explain partially the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale, I'm sorry, but most of them are erroneous or non-existent in many cases. So from my part, I succeed to build a huge wall of little bricks, which are all theories that fit into my imposing mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, and which are used to explain from A to Z, or almost, the origin of all objects of the universe, as well as their mode of formation, their mode of functioning, the circumstances or condition which led to one or the other different possible deaths, and many other things specific to each type of objects. But I will only reveal after filing my first patent and maybe my third patent. So, on the other hand, and about a year after the start of my self-taught studies in astrophysics and in chemistry, which began in early February 2014, so a year later, it's about early February 2015, when I invent, without realizing it at the time, but the day after, an exceptional first-generation device that is capable at that time of producing my first gravitational technology. From that point on, I found it extremely fortunate that I had to continue working alone, because of the pattern that I had to continue to keep in secret, because we never know. When you feel emotive, on emotion, you can say some things that you don't have to say about the paper pattern, which is so important to me. So that's why for the last 6 years and 2 months, I still working. I have been forced to work alone. But now that is no longer the case, because I have completed all the parts that contains in my paper patterns, my invention in astrophysics and my invention in physical mechanics, which is used to build and produce my extraordinary first spaceship of the first generation, as well as those of my exceptional first generation device, which is capable of producing, and then that's what I realized afterwards, then it could produce my 3 first gravitational technology. In the meantime, it may be possible for me to decide to pattern my exceptional third-generation device, which is capable of producing the 10 extraterrestrial gravitational technology for my third extraordinary spaceship of the third generation, but which is the one that I invented 1 or 2 weeks ago. So this is my last one. And to conclude, if I had been able to work for the last 6 years and 2 months with collaborators from my research center, I will have invented and or produced a lot more new things, new ideas, new theories. Well, thank you to see my video, and welcome to see my next video, which will reveal my opinion on another pretty complex subjects of the universe. So thank you, goodbye.